Yoshiyuki Tomino, one of the most prolific directors in all of anime, and for good reason. He created the Gundam franchise, but also used it to bring about a renaissance of serious anime marketed to an older audience. Ya hear that, kids? Without this man, your edgy garbage probably wouldn't exist, so y'all owe him that much. Now I know why all my friends who are younger than me call me old-timer. Back on track. In 1993, there was a certain anime called Mobile Suit Victory Gundam, and this series was tampered with by Bandai in hopes to increase sales of model kits, like making the fourth episode the first, or even having designs changed to be more kit-friendly or distinct. This put Tomino in a deep depression during production of Victory Gundam, resulting in a very depressing and even kind of malicious treatment of characters. There was a lot of death, and sadness. After that, Tomino left the series, not to return till 1999, with today's subject, Turn A Gundam. Turn A Gundam is notably more cheerful than other Gundam titles before it, which, depending on what you want out of a Gundam, can hurt your impressions of it. This series can get goofy at times, which for me was not hard for the series' tone, but for how obnoxious some of the characters can be. There is a moment where people are essentially juggling nuclear warheads, which resulting in my yelling at the screen. But enough on that, I need to discuss the plot. Turn A Gundam takes place a certain thousands of years after Victory Gundam or Reconquista in G. Some astronomical disaster laid waste to the entirety of Earth, forcing humanity to look towards the stars, or closer, the moon, for refuge. A large sum of humanity flee the dying Earth to colonize the moon, and they formed their own civilization up there, while those who were left had to reconstruct all of history again on Earth. The Moon Race have an advanced civilization on the moon, while the Earth is more in the roaring 20s technologically. The Moon Race, seeking to return to Earth, send multiple people over the course of generations as scouts in hopes to learn how to integrate with Earth society. Our main character Lauren is one of such people. Lauren, after landing on the Earth, becomes an employee of a wealthy mining family, and even becomes an official citizen of the town, allowed to go to their odd coming-of-age ceremony. Once there, Lauren sees his new home being attacked by mobile suits sent from space, and thus begins a war between the Earth and the Moon. This setup is very typical Gundam affair. Earth and space people at war over territory and ideals, seen it before, but what makes Turn A unique here is the huge gap between levels of power and development. The Moon Race is simply better than the Earthers, being able to make mobile suits instead of just digging them up from the ground. Seeing a struggling Earth society against such an enormous power is fun to watch, since you are essentially watching a militia of Confederate soldiers from Louisiana fighting an advanced space civilization. Another aspect of Turn A Gundam that is unique is the fact that you are witnessing the slow beginning to war. You watch a first assault take place, then careful negotiations happen while skirmishes between inexperienced soldiers appear. The characters in this anime are an interesting bunch. You have Lauren, who at times is forced to cross-dress to hide his identity as a Moon Race, from the Moon Race people. You have the Queen of the Moon Race, Diana, who's trying her darndest to prevent war and her struggle to keep her soldiers under control. There's Kiel, who looks as though she's a twin to Diana, and that plays an important and lengthy part of the overarching story. There's Harry, who is Turn A's Charclone, and an all-around awesome character to watch, since regardless of what he does or who he fights, he's the good guy. Then way later, you get Gaim, and this guy is an incredible asshole. To put it into words, me and a friend watched this series together, and the moment we saw him, we both collectively declared our disdain towards him and his war-hungry attitude. Then there are individual side characters for both major factions who go from okay to downright irritating with their either ignorance or sheer apathy to the ramifications of their actions. This grouping of characters feels incredibly realistic. I buy that the militia is a bunch of testosterone-fueled soldiers who don't want to be upstaged by the advanced civilization. I also buy that some Moonrace look down on the Earthers as unintelligent Neanderthals with guns. Everything about the character personalities feels realistic in almost every way. One last thing I need to further address here is Turn A's place in the timeline and how it affects other Gundam titles. Turn A essentially connects G Gundam, Gundam Wing, and Gundam X into the Universal Century timeline in a way, as well as expanding the possibilities of future Gundam titles, while limiting future titles power-wise, since Turn A is the end-all point. It is a singularity where Gundam ends currently, and this is very important. It establishes a box that Gundam titles need to fit into, which has no doubt already affected the franchise in at least some way. Visually, I can say Turn A Gundam is very impressive, Being released between 1999 and 2000, Turn A utilizes the very best traditional anime has to offer, since this is the very butt end before digital painting and CG became a thing. I can't help but feel this is symbolic, as this is the last Gundam title to do so before digital painting, making an unintentional nod to the finality of Turn A Gundam. The only downside visually I can find are two things. The first is how none of the mobile suits move their torsos when walking or running. That is kinda jarring, and the other complaint is a minor use of CG for one space colony for like 2 episodes. Other than that, Turn A looks fantastilicious. Oh lordy the sound! The music in the series is composed by Yoko Kanno, and it shows. The music is incredible, whether it is the opening songs, ending songs, or the music in between. There are multiple tracks that just send chills down my spine. The sound in this anime is one of the biggest highlights and alone is worth the price of admission. My final thoughts are that Turn A Gundam was a fantastic ride from beginning to end. The only way I can describe it is it being compulsively watchable. But one thing I can say is that it is a poor entry Gundam. Turn A makes so many subtle nods to older titles, like Turn X using the Shining Finger attack, or the Militia mobile suits being out of commission Zeon suits that they dug up. You don't technically need to see other Gundam titles to watch Turn A, but to fully appreciate everything the series has to offer, I recommend watching at least a couple of other Gundam titles first, especially ones that predate Turn A production-wise. But as a mecha fan, or hell, even an anime fan, you need to watch Turn A Gundam at least one point in your life. Everything about it is the culmination of Gundam and anime as a whole. It being the culmination of one of anime's most prolific directors, of old-style traditional animation, and of anime music quality. All these things together make this title feel very important in the history of anime. The series is available on DVD by Right Stuff and is fairly priced. I say give her a go.